What's up YouTube, it's your boy Nash here. Welcome back to the channel. Now before we get into this week's episode of Yu-Gi-Oh's Biggest Issue, guys, we are 29 subs away from 200. We are drawing closer and closer to the goal every single day, and as I have said excuse me, as I have said in previous videos, if this channel gets to 200 subs, I will open up this Korean Strike of Neos booster box in its entirety on the channel, on the hopes to potentially pull this guy, Elemental Hero Air Neos. If this channel gets to 500 subs, I will open up this Korean LOB booster box that I got from my partners at Collector Store. So be sure to check them out. Link and address will be in the description below, on the hopes to potentially pull a Blue Eyes White Dragon, Dark Magician, Red Eyes Black Dragon, Pot of Greed, a piece of Exodia. There's no telling what we could pull. However, if the channel gets to 1,000 subs, I will open up this first edition Toon Chaos box in its entirety on the channel that I also got from my partners at Collector Store, on the hopes to potentially pull my second ever Collector's Rare. Because if you guys missed out on my Genesis Impact box opening, which I recommend you guys watch, I pulled a Collector's Rare Beat Cop from the Underworld, which I'm assuming if I go to TCG Player, it might be worth a bit more. Who knows? But obviously, you guys know prices can vary depending on what you buy. Depending on what you want to buy, actually. And let's see. Price guide. So let's see how much this goes for. Let's see. Hidden Arsenal Chapter 1, Battle of Chaos, Grand Creators, Brothers of Legend, Ancient Guardians. Hell, is a really stupid set. Here we are. It is now, sadly, 20 bucks. I mean, it's still a pretty good card, to be fair. To be fair, it's still a pretty good card. I think the most expensive one of the set is Live Twin Lilla as a collector's rare for almost 100 bucks, which is still pretty decent. But again, guys, absolutely amazing. I am planning on getting this card graded at some point. Don't really know when. But if you guys want to see those boxes get opened, maybe you guys want more episodes of Yu-Gi-Oh's Biggest Issue. Maybe you guys want more episodes of WWE's Biggest Issue. Deck profiles, card discussions, WWE topics, premium live event predictions and results. Well, if you guys want all of that and more, my channel is the place to be. So if you guys have not done so already, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, smash that thumbs up button on this video. Follow me on all of my social media. My ads will be in the description below, as will the info to my fan mail. It will also be in the description as well. And I want you guys to post in the comments below answering the question of the day, which is this: what deck or decks do you guys want to see in the brand new summer 2023 format? Because that's what we are going to be talking about for this week's episode. Talk about the ban list and what decks exactly got hit, and what decks could we see come back into the format. Now, the ban list, we literally got it, what was it, on Saturday? It was this past Saturday, last week. And honestly, Konami actually did they really do cleanup duty? I don't think they did. In my personal opinion, I don't think they did. Because for one, Castura is still pretty busted in the format. Naturia Runic is still in the format because there are ways that people can not only recycle Naturia Sacred Tree back into the back into the deck, but there are other ways that they can ensure that you get Sacred Tree back into the deck over and over and over and over again without having the use of like any draw cards or whatever. So with that said, the ban list that we got for the cards that are banned, meaning you can't use them, Cyberstein got hit because of some of the FTKs that I think that was actually viable in the format. Super Heavy Samurai Scarecrow, so Super Heavies are pretty much just like done at this point. Number 89, Diablos is the Mind Hacker, so Kashtira was one of the decks that got hit, but it didn't take a massive hit. If it didn't take that big of a hit, because there are ways that you can banish cards from your opponent's deck. There are so many ways you can. One of them is utilizing the Runic package, which I'm actually tempted to try out. I'll have to test it, but again, number 89, Dev got hit big time. A pointer of the Red Lotus, it was forbidden at one point. Funny thing is that this is an old school card from, I think, Absolute Power Force, if I remember correctly. So it's a pretty old card, and this was used in so many. I think this was used in like so many different like Kashtira decks over the last several months. So it's a bit of an interesting one. But Branded Expulsion, that one I had the feeling because I had seen on social media, you know, some of the different decks that were running Branded Expulsion. Dude, that card is nuts. It is absolutely nuts. So I'm kind of glad that they had Branded Expulsion, because I think that card was just way too overpowered for its own good. But that was pretty much it for the cards that got banned. The cards that got limited, we got Blaster, Dragon Ruler of Infernos, Mathmech Circular, Sideframe Gear Gamma, Denlong First of the Yang Zing, Kashtira Arise Heart, Purely Delicious Memory, and Naturia Sacred Tree. As I said, Runic and Kashtira were the top two decks that got hit drastically. Super Heavy Samurais, it's still playable. It's still playable even without their link monster. The deck can still play. It won't be the end board won't be as like powerful as people want it to be, but it's still a pretty nasty deck to play. And then the cards that got semi-limited, meaning you can only use two: Herald of Orange Light, Kashtira Unicorn, Lightning Storm, Pot of Desires, Runic Fountain, Sky Striker Mobilize Engage, Sprite Starter. And then the cards that got taken off the list completely: Blackwing Steam the Cloak, Gen X Ally Birdman, Samsara Lotus, Spiral Quick Fix, Lurlisk Recital Starling, Draco Face Off, and Sky Striker Mega Modules Multi-Roll. Which, to be fair, in my opinion, what is going? Okay, there we go. There we go. My pencil was not coming out. The lead of my pencil wasn't coming out for some reason. But anyway, the thing is, the one thing that I find interesting is that this ban list actually did somewhat a little bit of good to the meta. But one thing more funny was that it was right in the middle of YCS YCS Philly? Yeah, I think YCS Philly, right in the middle of the YCS, and everybody was in shock. Everybody was like, "Oh my god, we just got a ban list." And the funny thing is that this won't be affected. This won't take effect until, I believe, this coming Monday. This Monday will be when it'll take effect. So there's a lot of decks that I'm gonna be updating and doing profiles of on the channel. So get ready for those, guys. Get ready for those. Those are gonna be some wild decks. I got some crazy ideas, you guys. But here's the thing: Kashtira is still playable. Runic is still playable. So it's a matter of did this ban list really do anything to the meta? The answer is no. It did nothing to the meta, because even though cards like number 89 and cards like a point of the Red Lotus are banned, that doesn't matter. What matters is the fact that Konami didn't target the main cards that were the reason why those decks were powerful. The answer is Kashtira Shangri-Ira. That's the main component for the whole deck. If that card gets taken out, the whole deck is done. The whole deck is done, and it essentially becomes more of a beatdown deck rather than a control based deck. So yeah, it's a bit interesting to say the very least. But it now comes down to what other decks we could potentially see come back into the format. And looking at this list, I realize there's 5. There are 5 decks that have the potential to come back into the format: Dragon Rulers, Sky Striker, Dinos, True Draco, and of all decks, Spiral. Dragon Rulers, obviously, yes, we are still missing the main components, which are Tidal and Redux. Those are the last 2 Dragon Rulers that we're missing. And I know for a fact at some point, maybe within the next year or two, Tidal and Redux will come back will be pushed back up to 1, and when that happens, Dragon Rulers are gonna once again take over the meta. And for all we know, let's not forget, the Dragon Rulers are 7-star monsters. The Kashtiras are 7-star. Think about this: Kashtira Dragon Rulers. That's a pretty interesting. It's an interesting idea. It's interesting, but it makes sense, because if you think about it, cards like Dracosack, Big Eye, just to name a couple, these rank 7 Xyz monsters have the potential to come back into the format and completely dominate the meta. And when that happens, the Dragon Rulers, it'll either be the Dragon Rulers get hit on the ban list, or the Kashtira build gets hit on the ban list. But it really wouldn't matter, because if one gets hit, then the other part of the deck will still be playable. But Dragon Rulers do have the potential to come back into the format, and the only things we're missing are Redux, Tidal, and if I'm remembering this right, looking at the cards that are banned, Tidal, Redux, and I want to say Fairy Tale Snow. I think this is one. No. Not Snow. I think it's Global Ball, but I think it's the only one that they're missing. So once those 3 cards get taken off the list at some point, Dragon Rulers are going to completely dominate the meta. So Dragon Rulers do have that potential. Sky Strikers, on the other hand, it makes sense. It makes sense for Sky Strikers to come back into the format, not for 3 reasons. One is obviously because of the fact that of the fact that Engage got taken up to 2, and Multi-Roll got taken off the list entirely. The second reason is that if you guys remember when the archetype was first came out in Dark Saviors, if I remember right, Sky Strikers took over the meta for the latter part of like 2 years of what I think 2 years, I think. And then once Engage got hit, it was done. It was essentially done. But let's be real here. Let's be real. Sky Strikers, they have the potential. And funny thing, and ironically enough, there's actually a brand new Sky Striker card that I wanted to talk about. If I can find it. Here we are. There's a brand new Sky Striker card that was recently announced. Which, ironically enough, is it's sort of like a promo card. But I wanted to bring this up. It's called Sky Striker Ace Camellia, which is a dark machine Link 2 with 1500 attack, and its arrows are top right and bottom left, and it requires 2 effect monsters, and it says that it must first be Link summoned, and you can special summon this card once per turn. And it has 2 separate effects. The first effect reads, once per turn, if you have 3 or less spells in your grave, you can send 1 Sky Striker card from your deck to the grave. Second effect reads, if this card is sent to the grave, you can target 1 monster your opponent controls, special summon this card to their field, and if you do, send that monster to the grave. Also shift the controller to this card's owner during the end phase of this turn. So with this card is absolutely nuts. It's a Foolish Burial and a fucking Kaiju. It's a Foolish Burial Kaiju. That's how crazy this card is. This card right here was in my opinion one of the main cards, was one of the biggest cards to ever work with the Sky Striker deck, because Sky Strikers, once we got more support for them over time, the deck just completely took over the meta. Yes, you do see the deck, get played every once in a while. At like local, at your locals, or like a random like YCS or whatever. But if you don't, once Engage comes back up to 3, which I don't think it will, at some point, the deck will be at full power, and Camellia within the next like year or so, it'll be released to the public in the TCG, and Sky Strikers are just going to completely take over once again. Now, Dinos on the other hand, with the brand new Transcendrake archetype that we got in Wild Survivors, Dinos do have potential to make its way back into the format, not as a tier 0 deck, but more of a tier 2 type deck. In my honest opinion, I could see it. I can definitely see it. Now, True Draco on the other hand, this is a bit of an interesting one, because because True Draco, I believe, if I remember correctly, I think True King Lithosogym got bumped back up to 1, if I remember correctly. Let's see. Did it get bumped back up to 1? Or... Oh, wait, oh, no. Wait a minute, no. No, I think it got taken off the list with the previous... with either the previous ban list or the one or the one after that. It got taken off the list. But truth be told, people seem to forget that Dragonic Diagram is still viable. So True Draco might still have the potential, but I think the only way it has the only way that it can have that the deck could be at full power, and this might be a bit of a dumb theory, is if Masterpiece came back. If Masterpiece got bumped to 1, then yeah, Draco's it's gonna be nasty. It's going to be nasty. Now, Spirals, on the other hand, Master Plan is still banned. The reason being is because of the plays that it can make with Magician's Souls. We found out that Quick Fix is no longer on the list. It was limited. It was limited to 1. The reason why I bring up Spirals is that with how crazy the Spiral deck was when Magician's Souls was released, if Master Plan came up to 1, to at least 1, then obviously yes, the deck would still play. There are some strategies that can run Spiral, but Spirals do have potential. But we would have to wait a little longer to either get Master Plan back up to 1, or wait for us to get even more Spiral support. In which case the deck won't need Master Plan to play. All they would need is just the new support. Honestly, guys, I think looking at this, I think it just again it just comes down to what other decks we could potentially see. But in my opinion, those are the top decks that definitely are gonna have the potential to come back into the format. More so Sky Striker, because of not just because of the new support, not just because of the new support, but also because of the fact that again, as I mentioned, Multi-Rogue got bumped back up to 1, and Engage got bumped up to 2. Sorry. Multi-Rogue got taken off the list, Engage to 2. Got a bit confused there. So, but yeah, it's possible. But I think the only way that it can come back up into the format completely is if Hornet Drones came up to 2. If Hornet Drones came up to 2, and Sekka's Light came up to 2, because I know that there were some decks that were running Sekka's Light, then it's possible we could see the deck come up to full power. But again, guys, that brings me to the question of the day: what decks do you guys want to see in the new summer 2023 format? Let me know down in the comments below, and that will do it for this week's episode. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button. If you guys are new to the channel and you guys want more episodes of Yu-Gi-Oh's Biggest Issue, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and follow me on all of my social media. My ads will be in the description below, as will the info to my fan mail. It will also be in the description as well. And on that, this is your boy Nash, signing out.